Hey there, this is Natalie, and it's been a bit of a crazy week for fans of ReZero, what with Tappei deciding to drop 2 chapters a day for the last 3 days of Arc 6 after an 11-month break from the web novel. But while I am planning to make videos about the chapters I haven't covered yet, I kind of wanted to take a quick break from decoding Google Translate's idea of what Tappei's written, and also to make something that my anime-only viewers and subscribers can enjoy, as well as the web novel fans. I didn't want you guys to think I'd forgotten you. And as people seem to like my last video looking at a terrible article from CBR, but unfortunately that article did have spoilers in it, so wasn't suitable for anime-onlys, I've managed to find another one that's just as bewildering, but which managed not to spoil anything, at least beyond the first core of Season 2. So if you want to have a laugh at the low-hanging fruit that is CBR.com and their baffling articles about ReZero, then you're able to watch this one even if you don't want to be spoiled about random things from later in the story. That the author found on a wiki somewhere because they evidently have never watched or read ReZero. The last one that I made was a list of 10 plot holes and things that didn't make sense about the setting of ReZero, and it was truly awful. But this one here promises to explain the 10 most confusing things about the ReZero anime. So, if you had any questions about what was happening in ReZero, rather than waiting for Tappei to finish the story so you can find out, don't worry, because CBR.com can explain it all. Obviously, they can't, but there is some really funny stuff in there. And don't worry, this one has some gems in it just as good as from the last article, the one about how the dog bite caused Subaru to fall in love with Emilia. So there's plenty to look forward to here. But let's jump straight into the article, which is from August the 7th, 2020. It did do that stupid thing of spoiling stuff, but luckily it only spoiled things that were aired just after this article came out, rather than anything from much later. So it is safe to watch as long as you have watched the whole of the first core. There is one sort of spoilery thing, but I'm just not going to read it out, so as long as you don't really pay too much attention to the text here, you shouldn't notice it. And it's not a really big spoiler anyway. So, the anime ReZero combines fantasy with suffering and pain. In anime, most protagonists are built up with the story. They face conflicts in reaching their goal, and the whole story circles around them facing all those hardships and taking what they want. ReZero takes this concept to the extreme by making Subaru go through the worst. Well, CBR would know all about the worst. This new twist in the fantasy genre gained huge popularity after the release of its first season. Now, after months of delays, Season 2 is finally airing, and this means a lot of questions will be answered as well, but not by CBR.com. So number 10, this is one of the 10 most confusing things about the ReZero anime that they're going to finally explain to us. Witch of Greed. Just her. She's one of the most confusing things about the ReZero anime, apparently. Thing that I'm not going to read out. The Witch of Greed is one of the witches who were active 400 years ago. They all represented some kind of sin. Witch of Envy, Satella, slaughtered 6 witches a long time ago. Well, the reasons should be obvious by her name. She was jealous of them. The soul of the Witch of Greed resides in the sanctuary. So this seems to be like the way that they're structuring this. Most of them, it seems like they start off with the question and then give the answer, but this one doesn't really start off with the question. It just starts off with some nonsense about how Satella killed the other witches because she was jealous of them, which isn't right, but we're kind of becoming used to this from CBR. It says, explaining about the Witch of Greed, she seems to know all the answers about Subaru's summoning. That's why she was able to make a fake reality with Subaru and his parents in it. If Subaru can somehow get her on his side, she can be a big help in finding the truth. Okay, well, we don't really know that Echidna does know all the answers about Subaru's summoning. She was able to make a fake reality with Subaru and his parents in it, using reconstructions of Subaru's memories. And Echidna didn't even really seem that concerned that what she saw in Subaru's trial of the past was a completely different world. In fact, it seems like something that she, as the Witch of Greed, who's, very curious about everything, that being her thing as the incarnation of the thirst for knowledge, didn't even seem that curious about Subaru's original world. That's always something that I've thought was quite mysterious. But evidently, here they say that she does know all about Subaru's summoning, and that's why she was able to make a fake reality with Subaru and his parents in it. If Subaru can somehow get her on his side, she can be a big help in finding the truth. Well, it wouldn't have been difficult for Subaru to get her on his side, considering she was pretty down to make a contract, but he didn't want that, because it didn't seem like she really would be that big a help in finding the truth, at least the way Subaru wanted it. In fact, Subaru doesn't even seem to be mainly aiming to find the truth about his summoning. He's more concerned with surviving everything that's going on and making sure none of the people he cares about die. But okay, thank you CBR for explaining the confusing things about the Witch of Greed there. I appreciate your sterling efforts. Now we get to number 9 of 10. They're going to explain to us how a checkpoint is set. And this is probably one of the true gems of this article. So it starts with, in another popular isekai series, No Game No Life, the alternate world is a game which has an end goal of playing a game with God. Well, the alternate world in No Game No Life isn't a game, it's just a world where everything is decided by games. But okay. This seems to be the case with ReZero too. So the ReZero world is a game? Or the goal of it is to play a game with God? What? As the story or Witch's plan executes accordingly, checkpoints will be created throughout his journey. And now we get to the confusing explanation for the confusing thing about how we don't know, where the checkpoints are created or why they are where they are, what causes them to update, and all those various other things that are still a mystery about ReZero. It says, until now, Rem going to sleep and losing her memory is creating checkpoints. You what, mate? This means that the Witch of Jealousy is still pulling the strings and Subaru is her puppet. He needs to get the help of someone liberated from the system to break out of this loop. It's like they're talking about a completely different anime. Someone liberated from the system. Rem going to sleep and losing her memory is creating the checkpoints. What? But probably the less we think about that, the more of our brain cells we'll get to keep. So let's move on to number 8. Where are the other witches' representatives? I think it's using that term to mean the Sin Archbishops. In Season 1, Subaru encountered the representative of Sloth. I won't read the next sentence because it's mildly spoilerish. There should be more representatives of the rest of the 6 sins as well. 2 of them appeared in the first episode and trailer of Season 2. Well, actually, it's kind of established in Season 1 that there are only representatives of 6 of the sins, not including envy, and that pride is currently a vacancy, because Petaljuice thinks that Subaru could be pride, which he says he isn't. So that would leave 5 Sin Archbishops that haven't yet appeared. 2 of them appeared in the trailer, so that leaves 3. Okay, that's reasonable. It says the others must be in hiding and waiting for the Witch of Jealousy's orders to attack. So far, everything seems to be going according to her plan. they're expected to make an appearance soon. And like, if the question, the mystery that they're going to explain is, where are the other witches' representatives? And their answer is, they must be in hiding. I mean, did you need CBR.com to explain that? We don't know where they are. Where are they? Well, my friend, they're in hiding. Thanks. That's really useful. Next, this one is great. We've got Emilia or Rem. Rem versus Emilia. The competition is tough. Both have their special charm. If Emilia is cute, then Rem also takes care of Subaru all the time. I love how that's like the redeeming features of them both. Emilia's cute and Rem takes care of Subaru. Like, that's it. That's just their personalities summed up in a few words. Thanks, CBR.com. They're on equal footing in beauty and strength, so it's hard to decide. But they're going to explain what Subaru should do about this. But facing the bitter truth, Subaru won't be able to stay with any of them. One day, Subaru will go back to his reality, and all of this will just be a dream. For him, all of this is a messy situation, where he ended up in the wrong place. He should not get too attached to things in this world, because it will be harder to say goodbye in the end. Where are they getting that from? Like, we get the distinct impression from the way Subaru says goodbye to his parents in season 2, in the Trial of the Past, which they've already mentioned in this article, so they're kind of expecting you to be thinking a bit further ahead than that episode at least. That Subaru pretty much thinks he's permanently in this world now, that this is where his life is going to be playing out. So to say that the answer to the, which one should he choose, Rem or Emilia question is, well, neither of them, because one day you're just going to go back to Japan and it'll all be a dream, is kinda dumb. Next, and they love to go on about this, Puck's true form. This was something that they talked about in the previous article that I made a video about. And they seem to, this is a different person that's written this one, by the way. I don't say the names of the people who wrote the articles because I'm pretty sure they're just, generic names. They upload stuff written by freelancers who are paid a few dollars with. And so this one is uploaded under a different name. But they still seem to have the same obsession with the fact that Puck cannot turn into his beast form until Emilia dies, which we know not to be the case, as evidenced by this picture here of Puck in his beast form from a scene where Emilia definitely doesn't die in the Frozen Bonds OVA. It says, during the siege of Witch's Cult, after Emilia's death, Puck transforms into a giant beast. Why does he not transform before Emilia dies? Well, it's in their contract. Puck won't show his true form until Emilia is dead. Okay. Except for this time here when he did. I mean, it is in Emilia's contract with Puck that he will end the world when she dies. And he does end the world by turning into his true form and turning everything freezing. It says here, another reason might be the air turning absolute zero. He can do more harm than good. And that would actually be the answer to that. He uses up a lot of the mana in the world around him when he's in his true form to sustain his body, and it can end up ending the world. But what's in his contract with Emilia is not that he won't show anyone his true form until Emilia's dead. It's that he will turn into his true form and end the world if Emilia dies. And that's something that I think we'd all like an explanation for. It's a big mystery in ReZero that I'm sure we will find out more about later in the story. But CBR is going to have a little go at explaining it to us now. And that is, Puck also says that Emilia is his daughter. Puck acts as her father because it's mentioned in their contract too. Is it? Is it in their contract that Puck's supposed to pretend to be Emilia's father? I don't think it really is. I mean, there's certainly speculation that maybe he once was an elf or a human and was originally Emilia's actual father, who was turned into a spirit. But that's all just theories and speculation at this point. We don't know why he assumes the role of her father or her father figure, but, CBR says it's because it's in their contract. It says he might also know something about Subaru's summoning. I mean, maybe. That's not really explaining things, though, is it? Is it article? Is it article that I'm arguing with as if it can somehow hear me? No, it isn't. Number 5. Beatrice's backstory. Beatrice is one of the most mysterious characters. By the looks of it, she's quite powerful. She has a lot of knowledge too, thanks to the books she's always reading. So who is Beatrice and what are her motivations? And then it says, Beatrice is an artificial spirit created by the Witch of Greed some 400 years ago. The witch guided her to wait for that person in the library. I mean, we do know this now because the first core of season 2's finished airing, but actually this article was written before any of that stuff appeared in the anime. So they're just casually throwing out the spoilers for people reading this. Still, the explanation about Beatrice is she may be ancient and strong, but she has the heart of a little girl. She has heaps of magical knowledge too, and might be able to assist Subaru in his journey. I mean, sure, but that doesn't explain her, does it? This bit, Beatrice is an artificial spirit created by the Witch of Greed. The witch guided her to wait for that person in the library. That kind of explains her a bit, but this doesn't. Still, there was nothing too awful in the Beatrice part apart from the casual spoilers. But since they're not spoilers anymore, we'll just move on. To number 4, Roswell's true intentions. Now this Roswell section is kind of like the Beatrice section in that it doesn't say anything too crazy, but it doesn't really answer anything either. It just kind of says, it's yet to be explained what Roswell desired from the sanctuary. Most probably he was there to meet the Witch of Greed. His actions indicate that he's a suspicious character. So, 10 most confusing things about the ReZero anime finally explained. And the explanation of Roswell is, his actions indicate that he's a suspicious character. So yeah, Roswell's sus, in case you didn't know. Now we're getting back into some dumb stuff. Why is Subaru weak? Every isekai builds up the main character from a loser into a tough hero. But that's not the case with ReZero. The writer has decided to keep him a loser here too. Yes, because Subaru has absolutely no character development. He starts off as a loser, and, by this point in season 2, I don't really think he's achieved anything, do you guys? Don't think he's learned anything, don't think he's really changed. He's just such a loser. Subaru himself is not strong, but he always manages to win a fight with the help of others. It's the main theme of this anime. Yeah, the theme of ReZero is apparently friendship is magic. Anyway, the explanation for this non-question of why Subaru isn't as strong as some other isekai protagonists, at least that's what I'm taking this question to mean, is the shock factor of ReZero is through the roof. Every 2 episodes comes a moment where fans can't believe what just happened. And then it says, he won't gain any special ability in the future either. He has to manage with his little strength. I just want you to remember this sentence right here. He won't gain any special ability in the future either. You don't need to remember it for very long. I just need you to remember it until we get to point number 1. We're on 3 right now, so it won't be long. But remember, he won't gain any special ability in the future either. Okay, so question number 2 is, why does Emilia have a fake name? This one goes back to episode 1, of course, when Emilia calls herself Satella when she first meets Subaru. And the explanation here is actually the sanest and most explanation-y of explanations that we've seen in this article, so they probably copied it from somewhere else. It says the goal was to scare Subaru away, because that would be the reaction of an average citizen after hearing that name. Since Subaru was not from there, it's just a random name for him. That timeline was removed by Subaru when he used his return by death. So, it's not phrased brilliantly, and we still don't know 100% that was the reason, but I think we can kind of say, yeah, that's a decent enough explanation that somebody who had actually seen the anime might give. So we'll move straight on to this brilliant thing here. Number 1. Is Subaru a witch that's representative of pride? Well, no, he's not a witch. He's not the witch of pride. We definitely know that he's not that. And I don't think anybody ever asked if he was. But assuming that's just awkward phrasing so that they can get some keywords in, probably, I think we can assume that they mean, is Subaru the witch cult sin archbishop of pride? A question a lot of people have asked, and which a lot of people, including me, have made videos about, saying why we don't think Subaru's the sin archbishop of pride, and why that was kind of something that you were led to think about based on what Betelgeuse says in season 1, but which there really isn't that much to corroborate in the rest of the series. But what they say here is, through the whole series, there comes many moments where the viewer wants to punch Subaru in his face for his stupid actions. The reason might be deeper than this. Deeper than what? Your English is awful, mate. This also explains why Subaru can see the unseen hands when others cannot. What explains why Subaru can see the unseen hands when others cannot? Absolutely nothing that we know about yet can explain that, but the way it's phrased, it's like the first sentence is supposed to explain that somehow. I'm guessing they mean that Subaru, being the witch cult sin archbishop of pride, is the reason why people want to punch him in his face, and is also the reason why he can see the unseen hands. But honestly, after spending the last 3 days trying to read the new chapters of the web novel by decoding the stuff spat out by Google Translate, the thing that brought such quality translations as calling Julius's divine protection of gathering spirits, and I'm not shitting you, it actually called it the divine protection of seamen, it still did a better job of making something someone could understand in English than this paragraph right here. But anyway, let's see what their answer is, their explanation in response to the question, is Subaru a witch that's representative of pride? They say, Subaru is the witch representative of pride. Like, they just state that like it's a fact. Subaru is the witch representative of pride. He has a more special connection to her than the other representatives. I assume they mean to the witch, not to the witch of pride, but... And then, remember I asked you to remember that just 2 points ago, they said Subaru won't get any special abilities in the future, he's gonna stay weak. It says, Subaru gains some special powers too, later in the show. I mean, it actually says Subaru gains some special powers too late in the show. But I think if we added punctuation to that, it would be Subaru gains some special powers too late in the show. But yeah, does he gain extra powers? Does he not? You have said both as if they're facts in this article. I mean, I know the answer. I ain't gonna tell you though, because I said this would be a spoiler-free video. But, you know, the CBR.com speaks with a forked tongue today. Anyway, that's all for this article. And I better get back to making videos about the new chapters dropped by Tappei today. So I'll leave you with just this. Please, could you possibly give me a little subscribe if you've watched this and enjoyed it? Because I've just gone over 900 subscribers and I'm really, really, really desperate to get to 1,000 so that YouTube Senpai will finally notice me. And also let me know what you think about this article in the comments. As with the previous one of these I did, it's not like we're supposed to get super angry about this thing. It's just some It's just some nonsense corporate article that someone paid some hack to write for a few dollars. And really it's just there for our amusement, and that's why I think it's a good target to make fun of, because nobody could possibly defend it. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again very soon for more ReZero content.